It's another beautiful Thursday morning, and we welcome you very warmly on another edition of Public Square, a program that discusses topical issues from the standpoint of the people. Well, a lot of things happening across Nigeria at the moment. But yes, we will discuss the preparedness of Nigerians ahead of the 2023 election. As I said, there are lots of economic factors, socioeconomic factors, political factors as well, that have evoked some sort of negativity from Nigerians at the moment. Is it to talk about the economic doldrums that the country has found itself at the moment, or the style of leadership, supposedly, which has not really augured well with Nigerians for the past 4 years, or even by extension, 7 years? The APC-led government, according to Nigerians, has not really done well in ensuring that we experience the new Nigeria that we've always wanted. Today, we will talk about the state of the nation and the need for electoral literacy ahead of 2023 general election. And joining me in the discussion this morning, I have two gentlemen right in the studios. I have Mr. Yemi Fashipe. Thank you for coming.
Good morning. Yes,
Yemi Fashipe is a youth advocate, and he will be discussing on some of the things that need to be done ahead of the 2023 election. And as I also have Mr. Olusegun Akinseinde, who is the convener of PVC Hangout. Thank you for coming.
Welcome. It's good to be here.
We'll also be discussing with Barrister Wale Abimbola, who right now would be joining us. Virtually. We should be on our Facebook page now. And if you also want to join the conversation, you could go ahead to our Facebook page, Adaba 88.9 FM. We're live there. You'll drop your comments and we'll definitely read them all out. You can as well join us by calling the studio lines. That will be later on in the program, in the course of the program. But for now, let's start by assessing the state of Nigeria at the moment. By the way, I'm Olabisi Olaniyi Oluwasegun, your regular anchor on the show. I'll start with Mr. Yemi Fash. The much I know, you are a staunch youth advocate. And if you ask me, I would also say you are a pro-democracy advocate as well. Yes. The country has been enmeshed in some sort of economic problems recently, and a lot of people have been, complaining bitterly about the style of leadership of the All Progressives Congress-led federal government. How would you assess it first to start with?
Well, it's unfortunate that we are here because would expect more from the government, considering the fact that there were a lot of promises before their emergence and all of that. But then, fast forward to right now, things have really deteriorated, and we are in a situation whereby every citizen should be concerned as to the level of the kidness that we have reached now. And I'm sure every person living in the country can actually feel the impact. It's no longer a thing of, I was part of the government, I voted for the government, I did this, I support this, or whatever it is. Regardless of the political party that you're supporting now, I'm sure that we are all feeling the impact
the hits,
and it's really getting worse by the day. Like I posted a few minutes ago, I had to queue this morning to get fuel so I could be here, and that has been the routine for a while. It's almost 2 months, and we don't understand why we don't have enough fuel, and we have to suffer so much to do that. These are the things that were promised initially that will change, and one of the reasons why I feel the previous government was voted out. So if we are here and things only got complicated, then I think we are in a very terrible situation.
And we should be asking ourselves some questions. Yes. Okay, now, before we go ahead to other issues, Mr. Akinseinde, I don't know if you have a contrary view. Probably in your area, maybe it's a bit different. Who knows?
First of all, I'm a Nigerian. I live in Nigeria, and in Akure to be precise. Okay. So it does mean that whatever goes around here, we all feel it. So there's no exception here. It's quite unfortunate that we are here again discussing and having a conversation around the fact that government has not been faring well. A lot of issues have been happening because at first, before people come on board, there are always these promises of heaven and earth, just to bring people together, to making sure that they win their heart. And at the end of the day, we fall back to the same story line of what we were yesterday. And you look at it front and back, you see no difference, and everything is just tiring, and people are just complaining, just like the complaining we've had over the years, and we continue to have such complaint even as at now. So my own case is not exception. It's the same thing, just like any other Nigerian. We queue to get fuel. For over a few weeks now, we have been queuing. Nobody is talking. People are just docile about the whole thing, that we'll soon get over it. I think we are the people that love suffering and smiling.
Okay, now talking about the attitude of Nigerians towards some of these economic challenges, you rightly said, and I think that's the case, that people seem to be laid back and unbothered, probably tired of complaining. Maybe there could be factors responsible for this level of unbotheredness among Nigerians. Still with Mr. Akinseinde, what do you think is responsible for the response of Nigerians to these issues?
An average Nigerian believes the fact that whatever he says, it doesn't count. He believes that the government is about the cronies and about the cabinet. So whatever you talk from now till tomorrow, an average Nigerian believes that it doesn't make any difference. But they are forgetting, and we are forgetting the fact that it makes a whole lot of differences. Like somebody do say that a critic is an unpaid consultant. It means that when we talk about government, their failure and weaknesses, they are hearing, whether directly or by proxy, they are hearing us. So it means that one way or the other, they can do something to arrest that very situation. But over the years, despite the noise and the outcry from Nigerians, people believe that this government don't seems to respond. Because just like I said earlier, before we get to this place, we have to queue for like few minutes before we get the floor. And I was asking Fash that over time, I've listened to Minister of Petroleum Resources. I've also listened to Mele Kyari that said, there's so much in production, there's so much.
By Minister of Petroleum Resources, you're referring to the President?
I'm referring to Minister of State, Primitre Silva, or what have you. Because Buhari have not made any statement as far as this issue of scarcity is concerned. But of course, these two persons have over the time continually dish out press release about there's so much production, like all of, and despite the assurance, we still see queue on the streets. So much, not just ordinary queue, so much queue for hours. People are suffering in the sun. And the fact is, I feel the pains of Nigerians, and me too as a Nigerian, because I also share in the pain and the sentiment all of us are having for now. But the fact remains that if we don't talk, whether we feel that they listen or they do not listen, let's continually to eat it. The Yoruba will say, it means that somebody that keeps hammering on a certain issue, there is a reason and there is a purpose to which that person is doing that. So I feel that if we continue to draw to the earrings of our leaders, to let them understand that first of all, they were part of us. And they are still part of us. They grew through the system. They were voted for by collective effort of the people. They were not in isolation in all of the processes. They carried the people along. So how come when at the level of position, with despite all of the promises, at the end of the day, you see some things begin to change? The person you used to call no longer pick your calls again. The person that comes to your house before the election no longer visit you. Hence, I'm busy. Fine, we understand the responsibility that could come around political leaders and positions. But of course, one thing that is very fundamental, and I will continue to say, is that the people is very fundamental. If you grew through the system, It means that you are family to this, you are friend to this. All of these persons are your friend, are your party members or what have you, and you grew through the system, and there's so much respect to you that through you, the system will bring about succor and comfort to their lives. But of course, what do we have?
Okay, a lot of things to talk about this morning, but first off, let me quickly inform our listener that you can also be part of this discussion. It concerns everybody, and how to do that is by calling us in the studios. They have the lines open now: 0908 177 8793, 0908 177 8793, 0816 251 9991. Okay, we have this narrative right now, the narrative of bad leadership, mismanagement of public funds and all of those things. But this is not a new narrative in Nigeria. We've always had the discussion, even before the advent of the APC-led federal government. It has always been, probably it's worse now, but then the narrative is still the same. And just recently, after a lot of noise and a lot of clamoring from Nigerians, the Electoral Act was amended and certain things were, redefined in the Electoral Act, which probably a lot of people believe could evoke some sort of sanity in our electoral process or positivity from Nigerians ahead of 2023. And the question of whether or not the signing of the Electoral Acts could be isolated as the only factor that would translate to credible elections in 2023. That's the conversation I want us to have now. The Electoral Act has been signed and we're happy, Nigerians are happy. But is that the only thing? Do you think the singular factor of having an amended Electoral Act now will translate to credible election in 2023? Let me turn to Mr. Fashipe.
Yes, I think it's a direction it's in a good direction, because now we can be rest assured that a level of sanity will be in the forthcoming election, considering the fact that there are changes which will actually allow electorate to have a little more trust in the process. One of the reasons why we are where we are is because a whole lot of people, number one, do not believe in the system, especially when we're talking about election. People feel it does not count, their votes don't count and all of that. So I think we're moving forward. We cannot have all of these things at once, but then this is a very commendable one, and that's one of the best things that has happened under this administration. So we're looking forward to a better election come 2023 with the level, with the standard that we now have as a result of the amended Electoral Act. I think it's going to be easier to have a free, more fair election come 2023 as against what we used to have in the past.
Don't you think there are other factors that should be looked into ahead of 2023, apart from the fact that we have a new Electoral Act now?
Yes, there are a whole lot of other things that should be considered and looked into. Majorly, that is one who, for me, it's one who do not. That's one that does not really permit for people of my peer, of my age, to participate in the process. And what I'm trying to explain is the money politics.
Okay. You understand where I'm coming from. But before we go ahead, Barrister Abimbola is live now. Good morning, Barrister Abimbola.
Good morning. I'm talking.
Yes, thank you for joining us on the program. So we've been discussing the current state of Nigeria and the need for electoral literacy ahead of 2023 general elections. I'm sure that you might not have a different story if I ask you to assess what the economy is saying at the moment. Or do you have a different story?
Well, what the economy is saying at the moment? I was having a discussion with a friend of mine who was an expert on economic matters. In fact, he almost completed his PhD in economics, and he was telling me all these theories about how our economy is getting better. And I told him very clearly that I am not an expert on economic theories, but I know the economic of the price of gari, the economy of the price of petrol, the economy of the cost of paying school fees, the real economy of the streets, and exactly what we do ourselves. Everybody will agree that at this time that the economy of Nigeria is almost at all-time low. You know, when the price of kerosene, which is consumed by the poorest of the poor, is about 450 naira per liter, then we should know. I think there is a need for us to introspect and not deceive ourselves with all these high polluting figures and the rest. The economy is in trouble, and we hope that the managers of Nigeria will work on it and ensure that we get back on the right track. At least if we can't get to the promised land, we should get to a land where we can at least say that things are better.
Okay, a lot of Nigerians believe that there's a glimpse of hope come next year, which is another opportunity for, the masses to choose a fresh crop of leaders. You understand, but then that cannot be discussed in isolation from what should be the place of Nigerians, what should be the duties of Nigerians ahead of this election. As a lawyer and as a Nigerian most especially, what do you think the masses should do to reposition, to have a paradigm shift when it comes to leadership in Nigeria?
Well, thank you very much. I always enjoy saying that the best government in the world is the next government. The meaning is that we remember in 2014, when we were preparing for 2015 election, the stakes were high, and in 2015, everybody came out to vote for what they thought was going to be the best government, which was then the next government. Now we are preparing to vote for the next government. Leadership choices in Nigeria appears to be a gamble, and we hope that we gamble right in 2015 and in 2023. However, I think going into it, there should be more. The election should be more participation this time. People should share the idea of social media politicking. People should go out, register, and vote. There should be increased voter education. There should be increased participation by both INEC and the political parties. People should be made to come out and vote.
Hello.
Yes, are you with me, please?
Yes, I'm with you. We can hear you.
We should bring this gap of Kano State producing 1.9 million votes, while Lagos will producing a paltry maybe 1,000 votes. We need to have a paradigm shift in our voting pattern, particularly in the southern part of Nigeria, where we are supposedly more educated than our brothers up north. But the figures we have seen over the years seem to show that the people in the north are more politically aware, than we that claim to be more educated. So there is a need for an increase, in voter education by both the electoral umpire and the parties by themselves.
All right, thank you very much. For now, we'll have to let you go.